So welcome. How you doing today, Jamie?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, not bad at all. It's a beautiful day. I don't know what your weather's like, but it's 80 degrees in Ann Arbor, and I don't know how many more of these days we're going to have, but you got to dig it while you can. All right, so we have Karena joining us today. I know you know Karena, and so uh, let's talk a little bit about. We always start off with. We all know who you are, but there may be people watching on Facebook that don't know what Sensi Connects is. And so, why don't you do your shameless plug here and tell folks what you guys do? And of course, you have your 6 o'clock event here coming up tonight.
We sure do. So Sensi Connects is a networking and lead referral organization. So we consistently host our virtual networking events. They used to be face-to-face pre-COVID, and we host them every single week virtually, bringing our B2B community together to build relationships, have great conversations, and help each other, with whatever they're needing as far as connecting in their business. And so, I think that we just love to build community on the B2B side. And then I'm the publisher of Sensi Magazine as well in Michigan. We launched it in October. And now we launch a digital publication now every single week or every single month. And our next one comes out October 1st. And so building community on the B2C side as well. And in these strange COVID days that we are living.
Yes, these days. And on my Monday show, which is more medical and technology focused, we have an epidemiologist who says probably until there's a vaccine, which will probably be about this time next year, this is, the new normal. So it's amazing how we're like, talk about washing out 2020 and most of 2021, but what are you going to do, right?
Right. Like it is like you got to adapt. A lot of businesses had to adapt. We had to adapt both on the Sensi Connects and which our company was called Cannabis Connection, now Sensi Connects. We had to adapt on that side because we were hosting our weekly face-to-face events. So when COVID hit, so like, what do we do now? How do we continue to keep our community thriving in these times? And so we took our events virtual, and I think they're quite effective. I force you in a room one-on-one with someone that you probably haven't had a conversation with before. And it's really amazing right now is like, I feel like people are just craving that opportunity to connect because we don't have these face-to-face events that we can attend anymore. And so, we just want to have new conversations and so I'm glad that we are at an advantage to facilitate that and keep people connected during these times. And, there are some events coming up. We have the golf tournament that Abco Labs is doing this weekend. It's this Sunday. Meds Cafe, a adult use provisioning center out of Lowell, is hosting a golf tournament next Sunday. But, we haven't really seen a whole lot of other events. And a golf tournament makes sense to me because I'm going with my husband. He's going to be sitting right next to me in the golf cart, and if anyone feels unsafe, they can put on a mask. And, I think that it's a great opportunity for social distancing, all while seeing some familiar faces that I used to see on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we're one of the sponsors of the event. My publisher, Dan Keelan, and I will be there. I probably won't be there first thing in the morning because on Sunday mornings, I am not an early riser. But get there for lunch and in the afternoon events and that sort of thing and say hi to everybody. But Rick and I were at Rudy Petros's event 2 weeks ago, I guess. And that was an outdoor event. And I've forgotten how much I miss that real interaction with real people because it seems like all I do is these virtual events these days. But it is what it is, right? So
It is. We got to keep our businesses going, and we do that through conversations. And if you don't have conversations, I mean, it's really hard to build your business. And for me, I just think most of my successes were found in the relationships that I've built with other people. I have never had a successful relationship from a cold call, really, like a super, super successful relationship.
right.
And so, we just want to bring everybody together to just really build those relationships with each other and get to know each other. I mean, this is a small industry. There's some of us that have been around for a really long time, and we know each other, and we want to help each other. I mean, this is a hard industry to be a part of at times, and so let's help each other. Let's come together on a weekly basis and talk.
We
Yes.
have a couple of golf outings coming up. I just attended a high tea outdoors at the Montague Inn in Saginaw this Sunday. But in Michigan, outdoor events are fleeting, and we're going to lose our opportunity to do that. And we will have to be thinking outside the box to come up with ways for us to get that social Jones met, virtually, I think.
Yeah, you got to wonder how many more of these warm days we're going to have before that white stuff falls. But I know Jamie is excited about the white stuff because she's an old ski bum from Colorado. Um, but for the rest of us, we're more of indoor. I've never been a big skier, although I do a little cross country skiing. So, Karina, you want to weigh in here? What's your life been like as a virtual business?
Well, this year's, it's been crazy for everyone, but after all this COVID, changes started to happen. The same time the IRS was coming out with a new pronouncement, just about every day for a period, and then ended up extending tax season into July, and some people still went forward with the additional extensions. So we're still in it. For us, this has definitely been crazy. Everything surrounding, the COVID issues and the virtual and the work from home, but still having that obligation where things didn't stop here for us. So, just with all the changes and everything new coming out. So it's been an interesting year, a good year, but a very busy year for the accounting profession.
Yeah, Rick?
Yeah, I'm sure it has been. One of the things that we see in Michigan is an expansion of different business types. We've seen, the first licensing. Scott Roberts last week reported the first licensing that he's aware of a marijuana micro business. We're going to see those tasting lounges, those social use lounges coming out. Plus, there's a whole different thing going on with Bay Mills up north, taking their own industry on as well. This really is a dynamic industry. Where do you see the things going in the next couple of years? I know we just asked that to Jeff Redway, but he's got a little bit of a different perspective. As those of us who are in the ancillary industry business, Jamie, Karina, myself, Mike, where do you see this going? I'm interested in your thoughts.
I feel like, go ahead, Karina.
Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
It's going to be interesting. Like I do know, like I talked to Tom Beller yesterday with Real Leaf Solutions, and it sounds like they're on their way to getting probably the first consumption lounge license and getting that up and operated. And quite honestly, like we need that to happen. Us as an industry needs that to happen because people like Tom are paving the way for others down the road. And a lot of these municipalities are sitting back and waiting before they allow a consumption lounge or events, things like that, because it hasn't really been done. We are the first state to allow, licensing for consumption lounges and events. And so these municipalities have been very, very, just resistant to it. And I think once we start seeing some of these businesses get operational and the people start enjoying them, then it's going to really help us convince some of these other municipalities to open up to that. And so I'm ready to see some of these license opportunities get rock and rolling. And I understand that COVID unfortunately really, really slowed that down. But, I think we have an opportunity here in Michigan to not only pave the way for others in the state, but nationally.
Karina?
I mentioned the micro businesses that we had started probably about a year ago, really trying to target that market, and had formed a JV with Anthony Sabatella and Scott Roberts and also Roberta King, and really didn't see a whole lot of activity happening. And just within the past few weeks, we've had a handful of caregivers actually reaching out to us with interest in starting a micro business. So it's good to see that piece of it starting to pick up. And then in terms of where the industry is going, we put most of our focus into the small and medium-sized businesses. So as the industry matures, we're seeing them start to need higher level services. So where before it was just, let's get through the application process and let's get our bookkeeping started. They're needing that higher level tax planning and seeing, opportunities for new investors to come in, new types of debt agreements or money lender scenarios. So it's definitely evolving into, not to say that, cannabis certainly is normal business for us, but it's evolving into a scenario where, in terms of the accounting needs of the industry are reflecting the needs of traditional businesses.
I still think there's the bugaboo about, oh, that's cannabis. We can't have that. And so, but when you look at the numbers, which I know Rick has looked at, I mean, when the initiative passed, 2 years ago, it was like 57% of the state was in support of that, right?
Yeah, it is. But the fact is that local communities make the decisions about who gets to open businesses within their borders. And a lot of the people that run local communities were not part of that 57%.
Yeah,
So we're seeing even people that voted yes for the law may be a little hesitant about allowing businesses in their location. But as was mentioned a couple of times, once you have that functioning example that people can come and see, they can talk to the people around it, they can see how positive it's been for the community and not disruptive, how it destroys some of those old stereotypes that they were told in 2016 and in 2018. I think that's really the key to opening them up. So when I hear that we've got a lot of people trying to get into the micro businesses now, whereas for a whole year we had nobody willing to dip their toe in the water, that's exciting to me. I'm happy for that.
Now, where was that first micro business? I was thinking, was that in the northern peninsula, northern part of the state, or in the UP? Where was that exactly?
I think Scott last week said it was the northern part of the lower peninsula.
Okay.
I believe that's what he'd mentioned.
All right.
Yep. And again, you're seeing innovation in places we didn't expect it. Look along the Lake Huron shoreline. This area up here. You've seen an awful lot of innovation and willingness to accept cannabis businesses in a place where we thought it might be pretty darn tough to get those people to say yes. And the turning point was when they saw one and worked. So.
Well, I also think it's the almighty dollar for the communities that are saying no, when they see other communities that are doing pretty well with this and making some tax dollars. And the same thing with the businesses. I mean, this is the nascent part of the industry. A couple of years from now, this is going to be really booming. We'll probably be number 2 in the country behind California, I'd assume. Or what do you think of that possibility?
For sure. Yeah, I think we're currently there, but I think we continue to keep that. Most people may not realize we have a greater population than Washington State or Oregon or Colorado. And our market is far more mature than Washington and Oregon, although I can't say that about Colorado. So we have the opportunity not only to lead, the eastern half of the United States, but also be one of the top 2 or 3 throughout the whole continent.
Yeah. Got just a couple minutes left before we do the shameless plug thing. So you got any other topics y'all want to talk about?
I'd love to see Karena on here and her announce her new news. So Karena was one of our very first founding members with Cannabis Connection, now Sensi Connects. And it's been amazing to watch Karena, go from this caterpillar and bloom into this beautiful butterfly and be, doing what she's doing and merging with Grappler Ash, who is also a part of our network. And I think I'm excited to see her on her journey and her be a great role model for those that want to start businesses and be involved in this industry.
Yeah, there's going to need a lot of ancillary business. It's a business. Cannabis business is a business. So it needs a lot of services that other service providers may be at this point unwilling to provide because of the bugaboo thing. But I think that's all going to change. It gets back to once they see the dollars flowing, they'll go, well, maybe not. So.
Right.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the end of the show here. So let's give a chance for each of you to talk about your various projects things that you offer, ancillary services, as it were. Let's start with Rick.
Well, of course, we've got the 420 Post broadcast. I also do the Jazz Cabbage Cafe broadcast from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays that you can find on our Facebook page. And also, I'm in a leadership position of the Democratic Party's Cannabis Caucus. We're having a Zoom broadcast this Saturday at 4:20 p.m. Big surprise, 4:20, and that's available to join in on our Facebook page too. And in that one, you can actually participate through the chat function. You can ask questions or provide direction, and we can respond directly to them.
And not to sound too political, but it did come up. Chuck Schumer mentioned that if the Dems get back into power in the White House and in the Senate, the chance of federal legalization will go up exponentially, right?
That's absolutely that's what Chuck says. Of course, politicians say what politicians say, but I think it's pretty clear to see that the current administration does not have legalization of cannabis on their mind, and that we've received so many assurances from the Democratic Party that it would be very difficult for them to not act on those if they were given a 4-year term.
Okay. Jamie, go ahead.
So we have our networking event tonight at 6 o'clock. You can go to SensiConnections.com, click on the events tab and register for tonight's event. We're also hosting a East Coast Sensi Connects event on Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern. And it's pretty much designated from East Coast, I'd say Montana down to Texas over East Coast, and then West Coast event on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, which would be 7 o'clock Eastern time. And we're starting to build communities. The community that we built in Michigan, we're starting to build those in separate states nationwide through Sensi Magazine. And look for our next issue of our magazine, October 1st. I'm super excited. If anyone is launching a new product, a new store, if they're having any events in the next 6 to 8 weeks, get a hold of me, because we are going to be featuring some of those events, those new products, those new stores, and super excited to give our community some love and give our readers and the consumer audience a place to go to learn about some of the awesome new stuff that's launching in our markets. It's really fun to watch this market continue to develop, and this is the tip of the iceberg. We are just getting started here in Michigan, so really excited to see these shelves packed with innovative products and excited to see what the consumer feels about them too.
And I might add my own shameless plug that we work closely with Jamie. My marijuana publication is Michigan Marijuana Report, which is MIMarijuanaReport.com. And the 420 Post is the video element. Plus, we have other things in the works that we'll be announcing here in the next few months that are tied into 420 Post. So we try to give you, if you publicize your news with Jamie, we'll also do our best to publicize your news in our publication, in our newsletter that comes out on Thursday, on the website, all that. So I'm done with my shameless plug. So Karena, go ahead.
Perfect. We're a full service accounting and CPA firm. So that, we offer bookkeeping services, tax planning, system setup with designing your chart of accounts, 280E analysis for what costs are deductible and what are not, or I should say includable with your cost of goods. We help with assurance services. So I talked earlier about the annual review procedures that medical licensees have to undergo, and then also the initial attestation work too, if you're going through that application process. You can visit us at lcsolutionsmichigan.com or grapplerash.com.
You might want to spell